where the characters are seated. Then there's singles, or once, each actor gets an individual. They're called singles. Or there could be a two-shot where there's two people. There's extreme close-ups. There's medium close-ups. There's over the shoulders. You see all this stuff. But just, this is a totally silly scene. It makes no sense. Two guys talking about French fries. I made it up. They're two buddies of mine. I just want you to see the magic.
So after all these years, you're really going to tell me that you don't like French fries?
In all those years, have you seen me eat one French fry?
No. Come to think of it, no, I haven't.
On the other hand, I do like tater tots.
Well, yeah, everything's better with ketchup, right?
Okay, now, you could do an entire movie of just master shots. Woody Allen, I don't know if you guys are fans of Woody Allen, most of his movies, most of his stuff, a lot of his is just master shots. And he does long master shots. But what happens is, the actors are moving in the frame. They would get up. They would move to the other side of the room. They would pick something up. The camera would follow them. Okay? But he tries to do as little cutting as possible. He likes it that way. It feels more theatrical. So you could have done this whole thing in just a master shot. But instead, so what we do is we shoot the master. And you don't have to shoot a master. You don't. But primarily, you do a master and then you do close-ups for every scene. So here is that whole scene played in close-up.
So after all these years, you're really going to tell me that you don't like French fries?
In all those years, have you seen me eat one French fry?
Well, come to think of it, no, I haven't.
On the other hand, I do like tater tots.
Okay. Now, did you notice the audio was crap? I did that on purpose. What I did was when I moved the camera to him, that little plug, this little 1/8 inch thing, I loosened it a tiny bit in the socket. And that's why we were hearing that crackling, was because that wasn't jammed in there tight. So that's where XLR connections are better. I did it strictly for editing purposes. This is not meant to be anything fancy. So, go to the other guy. Again, you do the same thing with him. What is this?
So after all these years, you're really going to tell me that you don't like French fries?
In all those years, have you seen me eat one French fry?
Well, now that you mention it, no.
On the other hand, I do like tater tots.
Well.
Okay. So this is how you make a movie. And you do this all day long. That scene's over, they're going to go outside, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And this is how you put the movie together. So one piece at a time. So what we do now, so let's say we start with the master. So, what you're looking at, this list, okay, all this stuff were individual files that I imported into the software. So regardless of what software you use, they look a little bit different. They have different names for things. They all function the same way. So this is Final Cut. Adobe Premiere functions very much like this. DaVinci Resolve now has editing. It functions like this. Sony makes one called Vegas. It functions like this. They're just, things have different names. Things are in different places. So what you would do is when you go in here, it says Import Media. So it gives you a dialog box, and you would go to wherever it is. So this is that footage I shot earlier in the store. And you make choices about things like you can have it, this is where you would have it copy it into my computer, or I could tell it not to copy it to my computer, but leave it on my external hard drive. I'm actually running all of this off of an external hard drive sitting right here. It's a solid state drive because it's really fast and I can travel with it. Solid state drive being so quick, I can do all of this. It's all by USB. So you would tell it to leave the files in place or copy it, and then you see right here where it says create optimized media and create proxy media. So proxy media is low-res files. Low-res. Think of them as thumbnails. Okay? They're super heavily compressed versions of your stuff. So the software will use the proxy media for editing purposes. But then when you go to export the file, when you're all finished, okay, then it will use the high quality media, the original media, to put together your final movie. You don't always have to use proxy media. In a simple thing like this, there's no reason for me to check it and have the computer take the extra minute of time to convert this to proxy. I don't need the proxy. Where you need the proxy is got Eagles band, 6 cameras. All 6 of those cameras were running together at the same time for 2.5 hours. Okay? You never turn them off. You start at the beginning of the concert, they run for 2.5 hours. And then I need to synchronize them. Okay, and I would synchronize them by sound. But when I go to edit, I'm going to be switching camera 1, camera 2, camera 5, camera 4, camera 2, camera 1. On the computer, there's a viewer where I can see all 6 cameras at once, just like a TV control room. That's where I need proxy media. Because if I tried to run 6 cameras, say in 4K, all at the same time, you need one heck of an expensive computer. Okay? But this stuff I can do on my laptop. And you can do this on your laptop. So this is where proxy media helps. If you've got big 4K files, and a lot of it, convert to proxy for editing. Because it will make things go a lot smoother and faster. Otherwise, your computer may bog down. All right? The other thing is this thing says create optimized media. Remember I talked about ProRes? We talked about the compression. So the camera files coming out of the camera are what is called H.264. They're compressed, and they are in that inter-frame compression. Remember I and then BP, BP, BP? That's what our cameras recorded internally. And most cameras record that internally. Remember I told you that's difficult for the computer to handle. So optimized media, when I import, turns this into ProRes, which is not intra-frame. So it's much smoother. So it adds a few extra seconds or a few extra minutes, but this is a choice. That's what this, see, it says transcoding. That's what that does. All right, so I'm not going to import anything additional. What I'm showing you is how did I get all that stuff. So you get this by importing your media. You create a project. Okay, here it's called Edit 1. So you create a project, and now you're going to put the bits and pieces into that project. So if I click on this, okay, this happens to be master. Where's my master? So if I look at my master, see these yellow points? That's the whole thing. Okay? Let's click on this. Let's click on... So these are the pieces that I took. I didn't use the whole thing. But I would take one piece at a time, and I would choose my start and my end point for that clip. So in this particular case of the master, okay, so it starts here. Oops. Starts here.
So after all these years, you're really going to tell me that you don't like French fries?
You know those.
I'm going to switch shots. So for this piece, in my edit, in my master, if I go up here to the master, I would say I'm going to start here. And I can see by looking at the audio waveforms where the things are. And I go to here, okay? I'm using that much. I'm only using that much for the beginning of this piece. And then I take this and I drag it down here onto the timeline. It appears there. That's what that is, okay? So now I'm saying, okay, what's my next shot? My next shot, I'm going to go to him. So he's this, okay? So I can go up here, I can play this.
So after all these years, you're really going to tell me that you don't like French fries?
You know those.
So now I make a choice. Where do I want to start that clip? This is where now I said, remember the editing can change the whole intent of the scene? If I want to keep it light and easy, I could start it.
In all those years, have you seen me eat one French fry? In all those years, have you seen me eat?
He just answers the question, right? No big deal. What if I started here? Watch it.
In all.
There's a decision, right? So what I'm implying is maybe he's frustrated, maybe he's annoyed, maybe he's exasperated by his friend bugging him about French fries. So I added an emotional element by choosing a different endpoint. So same thing, so I do that, and I add this in, so there's this piece, and then I go here, I go back to the master, okay? And then I go here, all right? Go back to the master, so I did his angle, I went back to the master here, I went back to his angle, okay? Same thing, I ended on the master, okay? So I'm moving the playhead here at the bottom. So all your software does the same thing. Here are my audio tracks down here. I can adjust the audio levels for each of these very simply. I can make them louder and softer, okay? This is really cool. This is cool. This is why I love editing, okay? Shooting is, yeah, it's fun. But you can shooting, it's hot, or it's cold, or you're hungry, you've been carrying gear all day. Here, I can sit. You know, you can do it in your bedroom, your office, you can do it in your living room on your laptop. You can have all kinds of fun. You can put these pieces any way you want. Okay? Now, something I didn't show you was there is a rule in directing. So notice where the camera starts here. Okay? Blonde-haired guy, long hair is on the left. Okay? Baseball cap's on the right. Look at that angle. Look at that angle. So look from that angle to that angle. Can you tell me, just from these two angles, where the camera is positioned? Somebody?
In the middle.
So look at the master. It's a table, right? You can tell where the camera is obvious, right? Okay? So between these two shots, so obviously the camera moved. Did it move a lot? No, didn't move a lot, it moved some. Remember, the camera is you. The camera is the viewer, okay? You got to put yourself, when you're shooting, in the reference point is now, I'm going to watch this on, this has to make sense. I have to watch it as if I'm in the room, right? We're in the room with these people. So it's got to feel right, which means I gotta feel like I'm sitting in the right place to watch this conversation. Right. I'm gonna see, there's a track. See this track up here? I have it turned off. I made it invisible. Okay, that track is this shot. What can you tell? Look at that shot versus that shot. Where's the camera?
More swung behind the other person.
It's behind blonde-haired guy. It's behind long-haired guy. It's not in front of the table now. It's behind. Okay? So let's turn this track on. Okay? Now watch this scene.
Don't like French fries.
In all those years, have you seen me eat one French?
You tell me that you don't like French fries.
In all those years, have you seen me eat one French fry?
Well, now that you mention it, no.
Did you see that? Wait a minute. I'm looking at his left side of his face, okay? And he's looking to the right, okay? He's looking to the right. And I go here, wait a minute, he's looking to the right. They're both looking to the right. So, are they looking at each other? Well, no, they're not. How can they be looking at each other if they're both looking to the right, but I see that they're facing each other? That makes no sense. You can't do this. So, this is one of those major rules in directing, okay? They call it the 180. So when you have two actors, all right, in a scene, there is this line that goes between them. And the camera has to stay on one side of that line. It can come really close to the line. So if this is the 180 between here, and the camera can start here, I can bring the camera all the way over, right over to right here, over my shoulder, okay, and get part of my head in the shot, okay? If I want to, I can put it behind my shot, but if my head, they'll block. I can put the camera right here, and that's cool. But if the camera jumps to this side, you get that. All of a sudden, it doesn't make sense. There is one time you can do that. And again, remember, you're in the room. So if I'm watching a conversation between two people, and if I'm walking around the room, just listening to two friends, and I'm walking around the room, what if I walk over here, they're still talking, and they're talking, I walk over here, and I stand here, and I listen to the conversation. So that's okay. So if you actually see the camera cross the 180 during the shot, then it's okay, because it's like you moved in the room. But if it just jumps, if it magically jumps, you go, what the hell is that? That doesn't work. But if you're holding